Another major nomination for two of our most important youngsters. The future of Manchester United is indeed in good hands as Kobbie Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho have yet again both been nominated for an important award, the Copa Award, which is awarded by L'Equipe. It's a big one, trust you me, named after a French legend in Copa, trust you me. Winning it, even just being nominated, is a big honor. I'll tell you little details about it. Meanwhile, this is the second they are nominated for after the two getting nominations earlier for the Golden Boy Award, the European Golden Boy Award. So, question is, how on earth are we going to preserve these youngsters? Welcome to the United of Sport. Like, share, and subscribe as we get into this Manchester United talk. Now, we definitely all know that the future of Manchester United largely lies around Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho. Those are two of our most important players, and for me, them being nominated in major awards like this, the Copa Award, which will be the winner for which will be announced on the Ballon d'Or ceremony, the 28th of October, when the Ballon d'Or ceremony takes place. I think for me is a prestigious award. It has been won before by the likes of Mathis de Ligt won it. I think Kylian Mbappe won the first one in 2018. Mathis de Ligt won it. I think who else won it? Jude Bellingham won it. Gavi, I think, won the previous one in 2022. So quite a number of interesting winners. But for me, whereas this time around is most likely going to be for Lamine Yamal, he should be the front runner for this one. My feeling is that Kobbie and Garnacho really made a huge statement in what was a forgettable season for Man United. Garnacho played 50 games, scored 10 goals. Kobbie played 22, but was the heart and soul of the Manchester United midfield when he emerged into the senior team at such a young age. So for me, they made their statement, and just being there and nominated with all these big, these great, nice players around Europe, I think it's a huge honor. And again, going on to be nominated for the Golden Boy Award. But I think when I look at Kobbie and Garnacho, for me, the one thing that comes to my mind is how on earth are we going to help these players improve every day and get the best out of them when they are at their prime? Because they are certainly a couple of years away from their prime, maybe 3 or 4 years away from their prime. I think at 19 and 20, you still have a long way to go as a footballer, but they're already being important players. And I heard Graham as soon as saying that they need to be protected, especially Kobbie was saying he needs to be protected because he plays too many games of football. And again, all these are part of things, that mold a young player into fulfilling their potential. How do you regulate their playing time? What load do they carry? Kobbie was given a baptism of fire, if I should say. He was thrown down the deep end, but he dealt well with it. His first season was a terrible one for Man United. Everyone around him was not playing well, yet he had to be an important player and man things in the middle. He was one of the few positives in Man United last season. In fact, perhaps had it been for him, we wouldn't have even been in the Europa League, wouldn't have been finished in Europa League places. So an important player at such a young age. And United is desperate for results. And you think about it, if you're Eric Ten Hag, you know this is a young player you need to nurture and develop quite organically. You need to protect. Yet there is a lot of expectations from the fans on him. Same with Garnacho. You saw what happened when Eric Ten Hag was resting Garnacho. Last season, we were saying Eric Ten Hag played Garnacho way too many times. He played a lot of games and he needed some bit of rest. This season, he gives him a bit of rest and starts Marcus Rashford, and we are complaining early in the season, just 2 games into the season. So you think about all that, and you feel for Eric Ten Hag. You think, where is the balance? How is he going to strike the balance? Because if Eric Ten Hag is going to enjoy any form of success, most of it has got to be to do with has got to revolve around how Kobbie and Garnacho perform, how these youngsters perform. Of course, you can add on the Hoylands of this world, the Mads of this world, but mostly Garnacho and Kobbie are going to form the basis of the success of Eric Ten Hag. So how he handles them is going to have a huge bearing on whether or not he has a good 2 years as his contract stipulates. So it's an interesting headache for him, and you probably feel that's why we needed depth in this squad. And when you look at the depth, and that's why I will still sit here and say it was a disappointment that Man United did not bring another either number 6, or unless their plan is to elevate Sekou Hone into the senior team as they did, Kobbie, if he's that good. Because if you think about it, if we have a midfield that has Manuel Ugarte, has Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes as our starters, Casemiro might be there as well, um, and Mason Mount, because these are now the senior midfielders we have. How are you going to play that rotation? Who is backing up Kobbie? Is it Casemiro? Well, I'm imagining a scenario where we have Casemiro playing next to Ugarte and Bruno up top. So does it make sense? Would it still make us good? Of course, until we see it, we cannot know. But you feel like a player of Kobbie's profile, except Kone, I think he can't play that kind of game, the Kobbie game, is not there. So are we then going to immediately introduce Sekou Kone into the squad and let him grow with Kobbie just slightly behind him? So how is Erik ten Hag going to manage this? Because without a shadow of a doubt, Kobbie cannot play all games all season. And without him, we know which kind of player we miss. We know the kind of player we miss. Do we have a player close to that? A player who can open up spaces, who can take things in his own hands if the team is struggling? If we need a decisive moment for that individual brilliance, if it's not coming from Bruno, who is aging, maybe he will certainly not be as sharp as he was a few years ago. Kobbie can. We know that Kobbie can do that. Now, if Kobbie is not there, which player is going to give us that unique thing he gives us? But also Kobbie is a player who excites the fans and keeps them together and keeps the fans hoping. Even when you are still rebuilding and struggling, seeing Kobbie on the ball gives you something different. You for a moment you feel good about watching and supporting Man United, even after a bad game, even during a bad game. So you think about what Kobbie adds to the team, and you think it's a bit distinct. It's a bit unique. It's sort of a special thing he adds in the team that it's difficult to replace. Now, is Sekou Kone going to give us that? There's only one way to find out. Until we see him, we can't know. But the reality is we need to protect Kobbie by having him rotated right. Never mind us needing him so much. We've got to be able to balance him if we are going to help him achieve the potential that we know he's capable of. So it's an interesting test for Erik ten Hag and the management team, how they're going to deal with Kobbie Mainoo. And all these awards are coming up. He might not win, but just the nomination is good. We know, of course, in the future, Kobbie will be a Ballon d'Or contender, all factors constant. But it's an interesting scenario. When it comes to Garnacho, though, there is a bit of options when it comes to Garnacho, but also the Garnacho position is more of does not really place a lot of load on him. Of course, with Kobbie, it might ease now because Manuel Ugarte is there. The load on him might ease, but a midfielder, a central midfielder, someone who plays in the middle of the park, does not really has more load on them than players who play out wide. So Garnacho will probably not have as much load on him as Kobbie will playing next to Ugarte, because that has been a big problem for Man United, the middle, the balance in the middle. So Kobbie will have a lot of work to do with Ugarte and Bruno to balance it right and get it right, because a good engine, a good engine room is a strong team, makes for a strong squad. For Garnacho, they can get out wide. You can get away with a lot of things, like we've seen it already before. In the middle, as Casemiro, one mistake, you're done, you're punished. So you cannot get away with a lot. You've got to be on your A game, on your best behavior, every game in and game out, if you're playing in the middle of the park. So the load on Kobbie is a bit more. That's why he needs more protection. For Garnacho, it's more of the attack and making the right decisions and just enjoy yourself, run around. If we can, try to help him not to commute back a lot, because that's not his game. Of course, even Kobbie is the same thing, and certainly now with Manuel Ugarte, he won't have to commute back a lot. But with Garnacho, he has also got options. There's Marcus Rashford there who can play behind him. Zirkzee can play out wide. There's quite a bit of depth when it comes to the wings. Then we do have Anthony is still there, but then we do have depth in the middle. So it's going to be interesting to see how Erik ten Hag handles these lads, these kids, because how we handle these two is going to impact how we perform and how fast we shall come back up to the top where we belong. Because without a shadow of a doubt, the talent is there, but that balance, I think, for me, is the multi-million-dollar question that has got to have answers figured out for. Well, but let's wait and see. I think we are in a positive place. I do hope very soon this backroom staff of Erik ten Hag will also get to understand these players and try to get the best fit for the team. and we see our two best players flourishing and enjoying themselves without being pressured by the load of a struggling team hoping to get back up as fast as possible. Otherwise, we might kill them with the entire team if we don't. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you later, fam.